Okay, this worksheet looks odd because we are going to practice fur texture, we're going to practice feathers, and we're going to practice scales. So all three of those are within the same image, okay? So that is why we're doing it here. I showed you videos on it yesterday, which those are located in Canvas, so you can always watch those. Those time lapse, well, we're going to put a little bit of that to practice today. Okay, so hopefully this will hit most everybody. Now, those of you that have like smooth skin creatures, you're just going to be doing like, we'll be doing kind of some smooth blending in the eye. Okay, and then that's what you're going to take from there, and then your background is kind of smooth too. Okay, so we're going to start with the cat, and we need quite a few colors, and then every time we switch to the feather or the scales, we'll get new colors there too. So the other important thing is to have your pencils sharp while you're working. So for the cat, you need gray, you need light brown, you're gonna need black, you're gonna need I've been using mahogany in every other class, but I don't want to do that again. Okay, you're gonna need regular brown. You're gonna need yellow. And you're gonna need yellow green. I'm using that very sparingly. In the eyeball there is a little bit. Okay, here we go. Yellow, yellow green, light brown, brown, gray, black. That's it. Okay, if you guys have like a hand sharpener around your table, just share that around. Okay, you do want to make sure that your color pencils are always nice and sharp. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the eyeball first. Generally, you want to start with your lighter colors and then you put your darker colors on top, okay? So let's go ahead and just start with gray, because that's kind of like underneath a lot of stuff, and then we can layer on top. So I know it's hard for you guys to see up on the screen, so you're just going to kind of have to follow me with what I'm doing on this, okay? And you know what? Actually, before we start with gray, I want to backtrack a little bit because I've been doing that in other classes. So the picture here shows like a really pointed cat eye, right? But the picture here, the eyeball is actually rounded off, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black colored pencil and I'm actually going to come in and kind of draw in the actual edge of the eyeball. This is with black. And I'm going to kind of put my quote unquote like eyeliner in first. Okay? So I've drew kind of the edge of that eyeball. And then I'm going to come in and color in kind of that point there. So I'm going to color all this in black to start with. Well, I mean, it gets pretty dark in this picture. Okay, and I don't really want to color any more underneath this eye. I more want to I want to come out of the previous drawing. And I want to bring that down and around into the corner here. So in all my other classes so far, I've done this like about halfway through. So this time I'm just starting it from the get-go. Okay, and then the rest of the eyeliner is kind of like on the top here, and it's almost like I'm making a little bit of a like eyelid, sorta. And so I'm kind of putting black down in that area too. Okay. If yours looks a little bit, it's all right. If it looks kind of funky weird. Okay, now switch over to gray. Okay, for the gray, I've got it kind of over here in this area and then kind of coming off of the top of the pupil here. So just really lightly, I'm gonna go on the left-hand side of the pupil, and I'm just kind of doing just like a little bit of a half circle almost, and just kind of letting it fade. So I'm gonna let it be a little dark around that pupil, and then I'm just gonna kind of let it fade out from there. So it's really, really light because I got to layer a lot of other colors on top, so really light. Then my other set of gray is coming down here towards the bottom of the eye. And I'm just kind of drawing it in there in the shape that I see. So it kind of has like these little prongs, sort of. There's like 3 of them that kind of come up into the eye like that. It's kind of like the reflection of the eye. And then I want to let it kind of fade out down here. Okay. Then over here on the very bottom left-hand corner, I want to put some gray down in that area too. Because I kind of technically have 2 highlighted areas. I've got like a glare highlight up here in the upper right, and then I have kind of a little bit of a highlight down here on the other side of that gray. Okay, all right, so now let's go ahead and switch over to yellow. There's very, very, very little yellow, okay, so it's just very, very light. So the yellow is going to be kind of over here in this area, in between the gray next to, and just do it really lightly. There's not a whole lot. So it's really just kind of in this area to the left of the pupil. Kind of in between the grays.
Are we drawing this whole cat?
No, we're just doing some color mixing and stuff here. Not much. What's up? Okay. We're doing some tutorials. Okay, now let's do some yellow green. Yellow green, there's a little bit of that in there, and then we'll start working some of our browns, okay? So we've got some yellow greens kind of pulling through here, like in between the yellow and the gray that we put down. So it's kind of real light in there, and it's just to give this cat eye just a little bit of dimension and just a little bit of pizzazz in there too. I'm also going to put just a little bit off of the gray up here. It's not really showing that very much in the image. I just want to kind of like bump up that color just a little bit, and I'm going to go over the gray just a touch. Okay, and then over here on my like spiky green or spiky gray parts that I put in there, I want to throw in just a little bit of green on that right hand side. Kind of like that. All right, let's start working some browns. So you're gonna need your light brown for this one. Okay, and brown's gonna show up out quite a bit more in the eye, okay? So let's go ahead and start down here at the bottom where like the yellow is kind of going into that yellow green, and we're just gonna go ahead and put brown right on the light brown, excuse me, right on top, because we do have regular brown that we're gonna use. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let that kind of snug up to the pupil, which we haven't colored in yet. And then there's a lot of brown at the top of the eye. So I'm not going to be too shy with the brown up here. I'm going to go ahead and let that come in pretty strong. And then because of that glare or that reflection in the eye, this really is just kind of like a straight line right across there, and then this is just kind of left as white. Okay, how's my speed? Am I going
So do we put
too
brown in
fast?
the whole thing?
The light brown?
Yeah. In the whole.
Not really the whole. I mean, you're doing it really lightly here, kind of on the bottom left, and then once you get to the top right, you're kind of using a harder pressure up there.
My cat looks pretty.
Looks pretty. Okay. All right, guys, so now let's use brown, and I'll kind of go slow on this. So let's use brown over our light brown, and I'm gonna really hit some pressure here to kind of make that brown nice and dark right under, almost like that, kind of like it's creating a shadow in the eyeball, where it's kind of creased. So you've got like some brown, some real dark brown going here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring some of this regular brown down to the bottom. Okay, and what's really the last thing that I need to hit in the eye? Pupil, what should that be? Pretty much black, yep. So I'm gonna try to use as hard pressure as I can. And then it's kind of lacking a little dimension over here. So I'm gonna, on the left-hand side, like where I had put that gray down, it's a little too light for my taste. So now I'm gonna use the black just really lightly. And I'm gonna kind of blend it out going from the pupil outwards into the left. So it's like I'm kind of adding some shading there, kind of adding just a little bit of depth and dimension to the eye. And then I'm also gonna go around and kind of increase the darkness on some of the gray around here on the bottom. So I went in and kind of got all my colors. I put in a base of grays, but I need to like push them more with blacks. So guys, just kind of remember that it's going to be all about layering. I could get some black coming through the browns up there, just kind of darken that up a little bit. Yeah, that's closer. That's what I wanted to see. Okay guys, so that's just kind of like basic color blending. So if you have smooth texture or you have smooth skin, that's kind of what you're gonna do. Okay, now let's do some fur texture. So if you remember from the videos that I showed you yesterday, you have to pay attention to however long your lines are is how long the fur is. And what direction your lines are also shows what direction the fur is in. So a lot of you are gonna wanna use your pencil very deliberately, and you're gonna wanna just make really short lines like this and spaced out like this. Well, if the fur doesn't look like that, that's not gonna be right. So off on the side, if you want to practice a little bit, the best lines that you can get for fur are the ones where you make it really nice and fast. You just do a quick, okay? So you're kind of like pulling your pencil really fast across the paper, and see how it leaves like a really nice, like thin taper. So that kind of shows where hair like starts growing and then where it tapers off into a really nice light line. Okay, so you could kind of practice a little bit over here, but we're gonna do most of our practice here and around the eye. Okay, so key to this is to make sure that your gray color pencil is nice and sharp. Nice and sharp. Like sharp. See? Very sharp. So you can get really nice, clean lines. Okay. So on furred animals, the lines that are like by the nose and around the eye, they're very, very, very short. So our lines need to be very, very, very short. So I'm gonna start kind of in this nose area, and I'm gonna work my way up. When the fur is growing kind of in the center, it goes straight up. When we start curving around facial features, the hair actually curves. Like, you guys ever notice that in your eyebrows? Where it's like straight in the middle and then they start kind of laying down? That's exactly what this is here. So I'm going to start in the nose, and I'm going to do nice short lines, and I'm just going to kind of stack them on top of each other. So I'm just kind of working my way up, kind of straight up to start with, and then I'm going to come back in here, and then I'm going to let those lines kind of start, just start curving over to the side. And so then as I move more and more to the right, those lines are going to curve and lay down more and more. And again, I want to keep these lines fairly short because the fur around facial features are short. Okay, if I was doing a really fuzzy cat, my lines would be like way long, or those are really good for whiskers. Those kind of lines. Okay. It's okay, we're just practicing. Remember how demos, tutorials like this, it's always rough? Remember? You know? Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna go under the eye, and the lines kind of go in like the opposite curve. So up above the eye, they go this way, but below the eye, they go this way. Okay, so you gotta be conscious about that. So I'm gonna start here in the corner. And then I'm just gonna kind of fan my way out. I'm just kind of layering up. So gray is just kind of like my base color, and then I'm gonna come in with other colors. You're gonna see how they kind of interact with each other. And that's what's important about not just going down with one color and being like, okay, it's good. It's not. You can still see a lot of the paper, and it doesn't give your animal any dimension. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's use our light brown. So switch over to your light brown. Make sure, again, it's sharp. Sharp. Sharp.
My pencil sharpener is really
Have you ever seen the movie Shaun of the Dead? No? Okay. There's a guy in there that all he ever says, he's trying to say yes, but he says yarp. So, sharp.
I thought that was from Hot Fuzz.
It, no, wait. It is
It's the
Hot
same
Fuzz.
two
You're right.
guys.
Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Dang it.
They're also in Paul.
You're right. Okay. Light brown. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make kind of like stripies on the cat. And so we're just gonna do a little bit of light brown, and then we're gonna finish with black on top. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of put a stripe in kind of in this area, one in here, and then I'm gonna do just a little bit of some color down here. So what I wanna do for stripes like that, almost we're kind of showing this, but opposite, or like this black area, kind of like that. So it's just the same thing. So we're gonna take this brown, and we want the lines to be kind of the same length as the gray ones were, and we want them to go in the same direction. Kind of like that. Let it kind of fan out at the top. Let that stripe kind of get nice and large. Okay, and then we could do a little stripe like over here on that right hand side. Now make sure that those lines are really curving, like really going to the right. Okay, and then I'm going to switch over to the bottom of this eye. And I want to start putting in some browns under there. What's wrong? You're all right. It's practice, right? Are you at least getting the gist, the hang of it? Okay, that's what's important. Okay, so kind of like that. And then we're going to use our brown on top just to kind of solidify that down. So I'm going to use pretty good pressure because I'm coming on top and I want this black to like really show up. And I want to be a little more choosy and kind of selective, kind of slowing down a little bit and getting these black lines going on top of the brown. The dark brown? No, we're not going to use that one.
We're using black right now?
We're using black and we're almost done with the cat part. Oh, hey, thanks. Well, now.
Quick observation.
Yeah. Now you know how to draw fur.
Got the curves above and below.
Uh-huh. Hey, you're welcome. Bye. Okay, so just pretty much black on top of the brown and then we're done. Okay, so you guys see how like the colors have layered together and it's given it a lot more dimension. Okay, whereas when we just put gray down, it looked like real flat. Okay, that's your point in color layering. Okay, okay, kitty kitty meow meow. Yeah, see? Don't doubt yourself.
Every time I look at yours and then mine, it just
Well, it's gonna be different.
puts it down. Okay.
Okay, which one do you guys think this looks better? This one or this one? Because I use like different colors and. Huh? What one? Bottom right or bottom left? Bottom right.
Bottom left.
I hear more right. Okay, so that's gonna change our colors. So keep the black, and
Oh, wait, are we not?
that's it. Keep the black. We're getting a whole nother set of colors. Okay, for the feather. Okay, hold on. Because here's our picture. Oh, we won't need gray. Okay, so for the feathers, you need black. You need aqua. Light blue. Regular blue. Regular. So blue. Okay, so let me slow down. Black. Uh-huh. Yeah, black. Aqua. Light blue. Blue. Navy blue.
Aqua blue, navy blue, black. What else?
Let's see. Aqua, light blue, blue, navy blue, and then white. Navy. Navy.
We need like 6 colors. 6.
Yep.
You need blue, aqua, black, light blue, aqua, some other stuff.
I think you said aqua twice. No gray.
Aqua.
Okay, so feathers are very similar to fur in that it has like that line texture to it still, but kind of in a particular way. So on feathers, the lines are kind of like parentheses in a way. So like if we're working on the left-hand side, our lines are gonna look like this and they're gonna go in this direction. And if we're working on the right, then our lines are gonna go like that. So you guys kind of see what I mean by parentheses, like they kind of
Yeah.
are opposite of each other. Okay. Okay, so what we have to kind of concentrate on is making sure that we keep this texture the whole time that we're working in there. So let's go ahead by putting our shadow down, or some of our shading down first with our black, okay? So I'm gonna work up and we're just really gonna work on this feather here, okay? So I'm gonna bring in this black but I want to put it in kind of like those lines. Kind of like here, and then I want to go in the opposite direction. And I kind of want it to vary some of those lines, make them some of them a little longer, some of them shorter. Just makes it look a little more natural that way. Okay? I'm going to get it a little darker on the left-hand side. Okay? Also down this like middle line, this one, I want to kind of blacken that in a little bit, but only to like the left. So kind of like that. And then again, I want to vary up some of those lines. So some of them short, some of them long, to give it kind of a more natural-ish texture. Okay. All right, now grab your white. Now this is gonna seem weird, but we're gonna put white down, and it doesn't really make sense because you're like, well, the paper's already white. Well, when you put the white color pencil down, it actually kind of resists some of the colors that you put on top, so then it kind of creates some highlighting, okay? So you're not gonna be able to see it, but in the feather, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna take my white colored pencil and really kind of work the right-hand side, like here with my white colored pencil, and then also here off of the middle. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do with the white colored pencil. Okay, you can't really see it when I work in here, so that's why I just showed you how I'm gonna do it on the other side. Okay, so kind of real heavy on that outer right hand edge. And like I said, you know, you can't really see it. I mean, you can a little bit if you squint.
Wait,
And
so what are we doing?
well, you're laying down white, kind of like this, in this feather on the right-hand side, so that it,
Coloring?
no, you're not coloring, you're still doing it in those lines, so that it kind of becomes highlighty, resists. It's kind of hard to see, but. Okay, now, light blue. Light blue is gonna pretty much go over the whole feather, even including where we shaded, but you're still kind of doing it in that line texture. So to me, it's easier for me to pull my pencil and make lines going in this direction rather than in this direction. So I always like to start on the left-hand side, because then I can kind of get into the groove of those lines. This is light blue. And then I go and put it in the right-hand side. So with light blue, you're kind of wanting to cover up the whole thing. But you don't want to just cover it in straight, because then you lose out on this texture. Okay, so I'm still going in there kind of line by line. But since my feathers are pretty much blue, I'm just gonna have those lines be pretty close together. So it kind of looks like I'm filling it in. It's cold in here? That's what I said earlier today. Like Miss Duncan's room is like way warmer than my room.
Mr. Warson's room is like 106 degrees.
That's pretty hot.
I know, melted.
Yeah. All right, guys. So now we're gonna switch over to blue. No. We're gonna switch to aqua. Sorry, we're gonna switch to aqua, and we're gonna use the aqua to kind of add in a little interest. So I want to use the aqua more on the right-hand side, and so I'm gonna kind of use it a little more liberally. So I'm going to use it a lot more on the right-hand side. I'm still trying to keep in doing that line texture. This is aqua. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of the aqua on the left-hand side. Hey, thanks. Hey, Lola.
You have to go to the office. Let me see.
No.
I'll show you.
Okay, and then the only place I want aqua on here is kind of this outer edge on the left-hand side, and I only want just a little bit in there.
What if you're missing your school card? Do they give you a new one?
I don't think so.
What if it has like the sports passy thing?
Uh-oh. They're probably gonna go
I'm showing you guys.
at ya. Okay, now we're on regular blue.
I don't know.
Okay, so regular blue, quit throwing things. Still gonna use it the same way that I've been using all my other color pencils. And I kind of want this to go ahead and cover up a lot of what I've already done. Sometimes I switch too, like I'll do some of these lines coming out from like this middle line, and then I'll switch over and have it come out from the opposite edge of the feather. Okay, kind of like this.
Were you just coloring now?
No, I'm still doing in the lines.
Totally looks like you're coloring on the thing.
Cause there's a, is it cause there's like a lag? Yeah. Okay, Hiram, I'm not making dots anywhere, so I don't know why you just started going crazy with your...
Kind of dulled my pencil out.
I'm sure it did. Okay, guys, now the last one, navy blue. So this one, we're gonna use this like really more in our shadows, so kind of where we put the black, and then we're gonna kind of use it to give just some like the darker lines in here, kind of use those to give a little bit more just interest and definition into our feathers, okay? So I'm gonna use navy blue, like pretty hard pressure in where I use the black. Okay, and then I just want some of this navy blue to come in kind of sporadically like this and just kind of look like it's breaking up the feather a little bit.
Does mine look good?
Yeah, not bad.
My cat's eye actually looks pretty good. This cat has serious issues. Luca's drawing it.
How is she?
How? Well, the right-hand side of my feathers always look a little worse for wear than my left-hand side. Huh? So it's okay. I mean, we're just practicing, right?
What's a circle for on the back?
That was, Miss Duncan made this up, and they hadn't done a sphere yet. We already had. So she did both of them today with them. Okay? All right, now, the only color pencil you're going to keep for the scales party foul, is black. Okay? So for the next one, you need green, green, and yellow. This is for the scales. Shoot. Green, yellow, and black. Oh, guys, hey, let me be more specific with the yellow. Gold and yellow. Gold and yellow.
And you say green too?
No. Green, yellow, green, golden yellow, and black.
Can I just dump these out?
I mean, if you want, but do you really want to put them all back?
No, I'm just.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, you can.
I guess I can always keep it back. See, look how much easier this is. Look how much stuff. What colors do I need? Probably not.
Someone help him out. What colors does he need?
Golden yellow. I left my windows down on the motorcycle, guys. Yellow, green. I do today. Hold on.
Wait, so we have 4 colors.
Only 4.
Wait, black, yellow, golden, green, yellow.
What? Green, golden, yellow, green, and black. You only need 4 on this one. Okay, we're gonna start with black.
We're drawing some green beans.
Green beans. Yep. Totally are. Okay, so guys, what I'm gonna do is we're looking off of these scales here, and I'm gonna work on kind of like 3 of them so I can show you like overlapping a little bit. And the first thing I'm gonna put in, so, will you quit?
You want me to snap all your colored pencils now? Like I could? You want me to?
Hiram?
I would just snap.
Hey,
Don't even.
this is all on video. Just saying.
Where?
Whoa. Does it have?
They're all looking at the corner.
Does it have sound?
This is kind of funny, right?
It's not recording though. It's just. On
Yes, it is.
That's recording.
This is recording. I'm recording a demonstration video.
And it can hear us.
Yep. Okay. All right, guys. So on the scales, so what I'm doing is I'm putting in this. Hey. I'm putting in this shading in first. Okay, on 3 different scales. So it kind of looks like this when I go in and shade it. It kind of looks like kind of a backwards check mark, a little bit, okay?
Is that snake real? Or is it printed?
What do you mean, is it real?
Did you draw that?
Yeah, I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Let me see.
Okay, so we're kind of drawing of this shape into the scales. We're using black.
Oh, crap.
Okay, and then I'm also kind of like on the back edge of the scale, putting a little bit of value back there too. So I'm going to do a few of these scales. I'm going to do like 3 of them.
Wait, so what do you do with these recordings?
They go into Canvas.
So the kids in
Way.
Canvas will hear us yelling?
Yes.
Wait, well, why would you
I know,
put
why
this
is this
on?
a new thing?
Why would you put this classes on Canvas? Why would you do like your spine?
You guys are been actually, you're pretty good today.
Why is it always me? I'm not even the worst one. You are one of the worst.
Mm,
No,
right.
definitely not.
Okay, guys, so just kind of laid in like these dark areas in the scale. And I could turn the snook here to where it kind of looks a little more like it's in the direction. It's a snooky snook. Mm-hmm. It's a snook. I knew that was coming. you. This one is a danger noodle because it has venom coming out of its fangs. Okay, All right, so now I put in the shadows and I'm gonna flip over to putting in the highlights. So we're kind of going from one extreme to another. So the highlighting is gonna be your golden yellow. Okay, so golden yellow is gonna come in on the left-hand side. Okay, so I'm gonna use this golden yellow mostly on the left-hand side. And I think that's the only place I want to put that in there. Okay, so now let's grab our yellow green, and we're gonna use yellow green kind of all over everything.
Even the black.
Even the black. And even the white space around the black. Yellow green.
Green yellow.
No.
Is that a different color?
No. That color doesn't exist.
Why not?
Because when you talk about tertiaries, you always list the primary color first, not the secondary.
Okay. Primary colors don't exist anymore. Hey, your poster's falling down.
Blue, I know. When it gets cold, like see how many I'm missing? Like when there's an extreme temperature change, all my posters start falling down. It's packing tape, and then you put a blob of hot glue on there, and so then it doesn't like ruin the wall and your posters. Okay guys, so I've got yellow green over everything, and now I'm going to use regular green to give it some more dimension. So I'm going to use the regular green over the black and kind of in the shape of the black. But then I want it to fade out a bit more into the yellow green. So kind of using it in the black area, but I want it to fade out a little bit more so I get just kind of a stronger green color pulling through.
Mic drop.
And then that should just kind of start giving it some more dimension.
Do we have to draw the right side green too?
Yep, you want to do like kind of more on the black.
It kind of looks like some Jack and the Beanstalk.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. All right, guys, so that's basically it, and we're at time. So you guys can go ahead and keep these, because I'm going to give you points for them tomorrow.